Good morning, and thank you for joining me for today's webinar for nutrition and dietetic programs. My name is Megan, and I'm a business development representative here at Trajexis. I just want to welcome everyone this morning. Today, I'm going to go over how administration and students can track competencies while in the lab or internship setting, the ways that the students can use Trajexis to clock in and out. I'll go ahead and show you the student's complete portfolio that includes their time totals and skill summary, and how the students and preceptors can fill out evaluations with ease. Please place any questions in the Q&A section, and my colleague Mandy will be able to answer them. If you are already a registered user of Trajexis and want to add any of these features to your program, please reach out to your support team member or support@trajexis.com. And if you are not yet a user of Trajexis, please email sales@trajexis.com. So we always like to start out with that we are not an app, because an app allows things to be placed outside of real time. So you'll just be able to save the Trajexis website as a bookmark on your phone or tablet for easy access. So next, I'm going to log in as a student, and I'm going to show you the different ways that they can use Trajexis to clock in and out. Now, the tracking of time and attendance is super easy to achieve with Trajexis. So this is Larry. Larry is one of the students in your program. The first way that they can use the system to clock in and out is this one right here, and it's been around since the start in 2005. So it's just simply meant for the student to go into that site, go up to that guest computer, and use that to clock in. So we're going to capture the IP address of that computer. This time is synced to the world clock. It cannot be manipulated. They'll go ahead and toggle to whichever site they're at that day, and they'll go ahead and hit clock in. Now, 3 seconds later, it's going to kick them out of the system because it was meant for them to get started, start their day. And this works extremely well to this day, but maybe Larry had a family emergency yesterday and he just simply forgot to clock out. So we still like to put that onus on the student to create that full clocking in and out transaction. So we've created this time exception here. Now, this is meant to be the exception and not the rule. So you're going to be able to see exactly how often your students are using this way to clock in and out. So they can come in here, they can pick that reason or explain it. It's always going to be set to today's date, but it can be backdated, and they'll just simply put that time there that they had left. The other great feature to this is the absent feature. So maybe they weren't feeling well, they weren't going to be in clinic that day. They could go ahead and clock into Trajexis as absent, and then you get to keep track of all those absences as well. The third way that the students can use the system to clock in and out is the first of its kind geolocation. And it's just a way for the students to be able to use their mobile device to clock in and out. Now, as a program, we recommend that the students have their location turned on, and we just have access to their GPS when they clock in, and then again when they clock out. And I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to come back in here as Larry, one of your students, and this is where they have access to their complete portfolio. Now, their portfolio is going to include their time totals and their skill summary. They can filter per site, date range. They can go ahead and download it if they needed to, but we're just going to view those students' time totals for now. So it's going to have the dates with the sites that they clocked in and out from with the times to a total time. Any of those time exceptions are going to show up here. We're going to go ahead and capture that IP address of any method that they use to clock in or out. Here's that geolocation section, but I do want to talk about the approved by. So in Trajexis, we like to have checks and balances, and it's not enough that the student clocked in or out. We want that time to be approved by a human. Who that is completely up to you. It could be one of those preceptors at the internship site. It can be you as administration, but I'll go over both of those ways in just a little bit. Now, if the geolocation was something you were interested in using, during the setup process, your support team member will help you pick a latitude and longitude for each site that your students need to clock in and out from. So we can go ahead and click on this pin, and we can see exactly where they were when they clocked in. Now, one of our newer features is geofencing. So that range can be as small as 10 feet from that button push. It can go out to 1,800. So you really get to designate for each site how wide that range is that your students can clock in and out from. Now, if they were to clock in outside of that range, it's going to show up like this red box, so it doesn't match the site location. You can go ahead and click on that pin. We can see the blue one was where they were supposed to be, but the green one was actually where they were when they clocked in. Another way it can show up is this tan box down here. So the user denied their request for geolocation. So most likely they're not where they should be, but it didn't stop them from clocking in or out. And then at the bottom here, it's going to total all of that time for them. And this change ratio is reflective of how often they're using those time exceptions. So it's super simple and easy to track time and attendance with Trajexis. Those are those 3 different ways that they can use the system to clock in and out. And this is the view of their time totals. I do want to go over their skill summary here because this is really the return of investment for the student. So what it's going to have is all of your major studies along with the skills that would follow under them. Any mandatory ones can be marked with this M here. We do have a 5-point Likert scale for participation level that can be brought down to a 3 or 2. And it's going to total all the times your students have done those skills, and they're going to place those in their daily log sheet. Now, these dates here are reflective of someone of authority placing in a competency in the system for that student. So if you use this in the skills lab before they head out to their internship, you might have 2 different dates here. So one was when they were in that skills lab with you, and then the next one was when they did it out in the internship with that preceptor. So completely possible to have those 2 dates here, but the students can just click on that and they can see exactly what they got on that competency. They can go ahead and collapse those labels to see the values behind it. They can change it to percent point sum if they needed to. And then they really get to go back into their skill summary here. And this is where they can track their own progress in real time to make sure that they're going to graduate on time. One last thing I want to show you on the student side is how they can fill out those evaluations for you. So maybe they have a weekly self-evaluation. Whatever they're currently doing on paper, we'll go ahead and add these into the system here, and your students can go ahead and fill those out on the computer or their phone, and you can go ahead and run reports on all of these. So maybe they have a preceptor evaluation, but super simple and easy for them to fill out. Next, I'm going to log in as one of your preceptors at the sites there. So it just does take me a couple extra clicks because it is that demo site, but it's super easy for those preceptors to log in on their phone or just the computer at the site there. So this is Baker. Baker is one of those preceptors at your internship site. I do want to go over how they can approve those time records for you if they needed to. So they're only going to be able to see the students to the site that they were assigned to, and this is per FERPA guidelines. So they're going to have these tabs here. The clean tab means that the IP addresses match. They're easily able to be approved in one click. Needs review means something's a little off. We kind of want you to pause before you approve that time. Careful review means something's really off. And then unmatched means that the student either clocked in or out, but not the other. So Baker can come down here and in a couple of clicks generate an email notification to those students, letting them know if they want credit for that time, they'll have to go complete those time exceptions. Now, we recommend that they either do this daily, weekly, every 2 weeks, or not at all. And you can do it from the administration level of access. I do want to show you how they can go ahead and put in those competencies for your students. Super simple and easy to do. They'll just go ahead and have this pulled up on their phone or the computer at the site while the student's doing that skill with them. And then they'll just go ahead and hit next. Now, what's going to come up is your competency. So this is just our demo site competency here. This one happens to have an instructional piece. Each lined item can have up to 11 bullet point options. They can be pre-filled, blank, a combination of both. This one happens to be pre-filled to exceeded. So if the student does everything great, they do everything correctly, they can come in here, make any comments if they need to. But all they have to do is scroll through here and hit submit. And now that goes into the reports on your side, but it also goes into the student's internship record with that new date in here, letting the student know that that was placed into the system for them. I also want to show you how the preceptors can fill out evaluations for your students. So maybe weekly evaluations, end of rotation evaluations, whatever they need to do here can be done in Trajexis. You know, maybe they have a menu project evaluation that they had to do with that preceptor. But super simple and easy for them to do. These are all unscheduled, but they can be scheduled to be released at end of semester, end of rotation, anytime that you want them to be released. The last thing I'm going to go over is the administration access. So I do want to show you the admin view of the time totals. So yours is going to be a lot more global because you can see all of your students and all of your sites, but you can filter per status, area, site, student, level, date range, but you have the same exact tabs as those preceptors. So the clean, the needs review, the careful review, and the unmatched. The only feature that you get is the today feature. So maybe you don't want to see who's been clocked in all week. You just want to see who showed up today. So you can go ahead and come to that today feature here. You can see who's been clocked in, and then this is where you can also see if anyone has been clocked in as absent. The time summary here is a lot more comprehensive, so we'll just go ahead and pull up all of our demo students and show that report, because it's going to have the total daily and average times. And then you can always download them into an Excel, PDF, or print them if you needed to. One last thing I want to show you is the reports that you can pull on those competencies that were placed into the system for you. Now you can filter per area, site, student, major study, skill, sim lab, date range. We'll go ahead and change that calculation method here. So you can see this, that one that we just placed into the system a little bit ago. Now, you as administration have the power to add points, take away points, make any comments that you'd like, and then you can scroll through here. You can approve it, not approve it, delete it, and then you can even validate it. So when you hit validate and hit submit in Trajexis, it's going to give you a green check mark, just a visual cue for you to know that you've been into that competency and you've approved it for that student. But it's also going to go into the student's internship record in real time with that red plus mark, letting them know that you've also approved it for them so they can move on to that next skill. The other great feature to the comps is the comps uncompleted. So maybe Larry's going to graduate in a couple weeks and you just want to see exactly what he has left to do before he can graduate with your program. So instead of shuffling through all those papers, in a couple of clicks here, you can see he has 9 competencies that he has left to complete before he can graduate with your program. So I do just want to take some time here to answer any questions if you have any. And I did just want to let you know that I will be exhibiting at NDEP next week, March 30th and 31st in Omaha, Nebraska. So if you're there, please stop by the booth and say hello. If you are already a registered user of Trajexis and want to add any of these features to your program, please reach out to support@trajexis.com or your support team member. And then if you are not yet a user of Trajexis, please email sales@trajexis.com. I did want to point out that Trajexis supports over 70 different modalities. So if any of your colleagues are not yet users of Trajexis, please connect them with sales@trajexis.com and we'd be happy to give them a tour of the entire system. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. So I do just want to thank you for joining today's webinar. And I hope you all have a great day.